Yeah. Tell me what got done on that dirt.
Yo, if I were podcasting, it would be insane. Knowledge flowing like the sweetest rain. Professor Bear on the mic, spreading wisdom wide. Of his thoughts, that's my pride, can't hide.
With the voices in your ear, changing the game.
If I rule podcasting, every dog we'd ignite. In a world of chatter, we'll spark in the fight. With Professor Bear, we're climbing to new heights. A Bear's Thoughts podcast, shining bright in the night. Topics from the heart, never sounding the same. Got laughs and debates, never dull or bland. From culture to tech, take you by the hand. Join the ride with us, feel the vibe expand. With every episode, we shine that beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul.
Tune in, don't miss what we got to share. If I rule podcasting, I spread the love everywhere.
Welcome, and thank you for joining me today. I am Professor Bear, and this is A Bear's Thoughts. Guys, girls, we are starting to get the hang of the new part of the forest that I'm in. I'm starting a little bit. Now you can see my background a lot better. For those who think I am I'm a professional at doing this, you would be wrong, because I'm not. So I'm just feeling my way through. But enough about me. I want to bring in my guest. He is a great individual. Me and him actually got to do a podcast together with a bunch of gentlemen that we really well, I can only speak for myself, but I feel like they are very knowledgeable individuals, and they actually put me in that group, which blew me away, because I am just a wrestling fan, have my way of looking at things. But enough about me. Let me bring in Mr. Blair. Now, let me make sure I can do this right, because it's going to be a hard one. Bam. Sir, how are you doing today?
Hello, sir. I'm doing fine, and thank you very much for having me on tonight as a guest.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Got this part of it. Got to have the hand clap, because you are such an amazing person. Now, one thing that I always do when I have a guest, I start off with this question. How did you become a wrestling fan?
Oh, well, I probably have a similar history to a lot of people. My grandmother was a wrestling fan. So I was born in 1975. So in the early 80s, when I'd be over at my grandmother's apartment, she'd be watching pro wrestling. It was the local wrestling. I'm located in Nova Scotia, Canada, so it was Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling in the Maritimes, and she'd be watching that, and she'd be so into it. She'd be jumping off the couch wanting to get the bad guys who were going after the good guys. So I'd be watching along with her. So I became a fan of wrestling, and was watching the local stuff. And then, I'm still a kid, so it was, I guess, 1985, I'm watching Saturday morning cartoons, and I watch Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling was on, And that was a smart move by Vince McMahon, to be quite honest, to put that cartoon on, because right after the cartoon was over, it was WWF that came on afterwards. So I got to see all these cartoon characters in real life who still looked like cartoon characters. So that pretty much hooked me as a wrestling fan for life. I remember seeing Hulk Hogan and just being blown away by this guy, and then shortly after that, I got to see other wrestlers, and I remember I saw the British Bulldogs, and I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable watching these guys go. Like, this is totally different than what I'm used to, and I was hooked. By the summer of or by 1986, I was just gobbling wrestling up wherever I could get it. It was either biking down to the local video store to grab cassettes of wrestling, or it was, going to the corner store to grab magazines. And I loved the wrestling magazines because I didn't get a lot of wrestling on TV locally. The only ones I would see are my local stuff, WWF, a little bit of AWA, and Stampede Wrestling. So I wasn't getting all the territory. So the magazines and video cassettes were my lifeline to see that wrestling. And that's how I learned about it and learned about all these territories. And I was one of the few people that knew when somebody came to the WWF, well, they actually existed before the WWF because they had a history of erasing people's past. So that was my lead into it, and I was a fan ever since. And it's no matter how hard they try, they can't seem to get rid of me or push me away, no matter how bad it gets at times.
And sometimes I really think they're trying, because they would come up with some piss poor attempts, and I'm thinking, oh my God, they just what are they doing?
Yeah.
Like you, I was born in 73, so
Okay.
the lifeline for me, I was one of those lucky kids. I'm from the South, and we actually had cable.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of different territories. Then we got the NWA, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Continental Championship Wrestling. We got World Class. We got AWA. So yeah, I got a lot of different promotions. But like you, I was a big wrestling magazine junkie.
Yeah.
Like you said, that's where you got all your information. Where if you didn't get anything at your place, you could find out about it everywhere.
Yeah.
And the champions and the different matches and stuff. Like you, I knew when a wrestler showed up in another territory, I'm like, oh, that's just such and such, and he should do great here. Like when I specifically remember when Rick Martel joined the WWF, my first thought is, why they're not announcing him as a former world champion?
Right. Yeah.
And that bugged me, because it's like, oh well, he did this in this territory, he should be doing this at the next one. But as getting older, I started understanding, no, we're not going to show what you did at other territories. We don't care. We want you to sell for our fans. So with
Yeah,
that,
I don't even know if they announced Rick Martel as a former tag champ when he was there. It's like just forget the past, folks. This is just a spunky youngster that just came in here.
yes,
So,
yes. And it was always funny to me that they would do that. And of course I remember the first time they actually acknowledged someone having a life outside of the WWF was when Ric Flair showed up with the world title. And
yeah.
that was mind blowing. It's like they actually, oh my God, he brought the title. Oh my God, they acknowledge he is a world champion. Oh,
Yeah.
so that was a whole different spin on things that I really enjoyed as a kid.
Yeah.
Um, from there, how did you get involved in wrestling like you are today?
Well, I wish I could say I had some exciting story that, I used to wrestle or I was a referee or whatever, but unfortunately, I've never been inside the squared circle myself. But as I say, I've just been just a massive fan of it, and not just a fan, but I love the history of it, and I love the stories behind it. Although I'll never put myself in the class of some of the wrestling historians out there, I'm trying to do my little part to bring that history to people, to remind them of what it was in the past, and maybe if I can attract some younger fans to see what the product was like in the past. That was my goal. So for me, I just from being a fan, much like most other people, when COVID happened in 2020. I talked to a buddy of mine, and we were both massive fans, and we're kind of more so not just on like, let's rank the best match of the week, but we really like to talk the business and talk inside the business and that side of it. Try to talk about the professionalism of it. So we said, what the, everybody else is doing a podcast. What the heck? Let's do a podcast, right? So we ended up doing a podcast together. It was called Wrestling with the Truth. My partner was the Nightmare Jay Myers, one of my best friends in life, and we had a great time with it. It lasted for a couple of years. That's where that mask above me is from. We even had masks for the for the podcast itself, because we as they say in the industry, we had shoot jobs, and we weren't sure what kind of wild people we were going to be bringing on the show, so we wanted to make sure we weren't hurting our professional career or anything like that. So we had pseudonyms and stuff like that and the mask, but we did that, and we realized, no, everybody's pretty normal in this, so it's pretty good. And then after that, Jay had some stuff going on with life, and that's understandable. So I just decided, and I was kind of, the reason that we were doing the modern product is because it was right, when the bloodline angle started. It was really interesting at that time, right? And it was fun to watch, and AEW was just popping up, so there was a lot of stuff going on. But I was starting to get a little bit jaded on the modern product, but my love always went back to 80s wrestling, and I was just like, I'd really love to do something about 80s wrestling and talk about 80s wrestling. I was debating whether it'd be an audio podcast, but I decided to go the YouTube route, so I created the YouTube channel, Wrestling with the 80s, and it's been like that since I guess 2023 now that I've been doing it. So altogether 6 years of podcasting, but it's now 3 years of doing Wrestling with the 80s. So yeah, and it's a fun way to be involved. I get to talk to like-minded fans and people in wrestling like yourself, and I get to meet unbelievable people that that have such history with wrestling. People like Evan Ginsberg and Benny Scala. I saw Benny's in the chat here, and just all these amazing people that I from all the corners of the world. Like I say, I'm a guy that's from Nova Scotia. I'm not expecting to be. I counted, I think, in a 2-month span, I did podcasts with somebody from Tennessee, somebody from California, somebody from Winnipeg, somebody from Florida, New York, and I'm like, I would never have had that in my life if it wasn't for wrestling. So that was what was pretty neat about it. So I really enjoyed that, and it's kind of gone from there. I mean, I'm starting to get some folks on they're in the wrestling industry and stuff like that. So it's really been awesome. So it's a way for me to enjoy my love of wrestling. It's a way for me to kind of get away with watching all kinds of old school wrestling because I'm doing research for my show. And the best part about it, like I say, I'm getting to meet a lot of people that are pretty cool people. I see Justin's in here too. So it's just such a great community. So I really love it.
Very similar to you. I love what I do, and I never thought that I would meet so many great people.
Yeah.
I think that for me has been the blessing of it all. And like you said, like-minded. I could probably talk 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s wrestling to I turn blue in the face because
Yeah.
it's just what I grew up on, what hooked me, and I can still see the things that really made me the fan that I am today.
Yep.
And I want to give that experience to the younger wrestling fans. Today's wrestling is a lot different, and I'll go into this telling people just because it's different and what they did in the past, you can find so much that can make you a credible wrestler or whatever you do for the industry today. You
Yeah.
just have to sit and do research. And again, like we said, we just love talking about it and
Yeah.
giving people that experience. Like today, I was doing some research on something, and I have never been. Let me say this very, very clear. I have never been a Hulk Hogan fan.
Right.
Even as a kid, I despised Hogan because because from growing up in the South,
Yeah.
wrestling meant it was real,
Yes. Yeah.
and Ric Flair was my world champion.
Yeah.
And him and Hogan could not have been so much completely different.
hmm
But I knew Hogan before he became that Hogan. I knew
Yeah.
about him in the AWA. I knew about him doing the indie circuit.
hmm
Doing some research, I found out that Hulk Hogan won his first championship anywhere here in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that blew me away. Even I'm like, wow, that man, Sterling Golden, who would have ever imagined him coming from Sterling Golden to being arguably the biggest name in wrestling history?
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable, right? And that's what I love about, like, as I said, I just devoured wrestling in the '80s, but I still learn things now, like things especially when I'm watching older stuff, for researching for episodes and stuff like that. I'll see someone that's in a territory as a newbie, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize that person was in that territory, right? You just never thought about it, or seeing some of the angles that people did and some of the great storylines that they had. It's just amazing. But what I love about it too, with this community, especially of the old school fans, you don't get the tribalism either, right? Like you just mentioned yourself, like, yeah, you weren't a fan of Hulk Hogan. You're from the South, so of course the NWA is going to be your bread and butter, right? But
Yeah.
I was brought up on WWF and stuff like that because that's what I was getting where I was at. And I love the fact that I got to grow up on WWF, excuse me, because it was the peak time for them. But I know as an adult, if I was to go back in time as an adult, I would be a massive NWA fan. I mean, I'd be going from territory to territory. I'd always say, like, I'd be in 1983, I'd be over in World Class because that was just so hot, right? 84, I'd be over Mid-South because that was amazing at the time. From 85 on, it would have been Jim Crockett Promotions for me because that's amazing because I love how real and how hard-hitting those territories were, right? It was, when you compare it now to what WWF was doing, yeah, it looks a lot different, but WWF knew how to package it and the glitz and glamour. And I mean, what hooked me was like Saturday Night's Main Event and stuff like that. But for me now, I love just going back on a YouTube spree and just watching old Mid-South or something like that. I just did an episode with Russ Jackman, who we both know, and we were talking the territories. We were talking about Mid-South wrestling. So I was in heaven just watching 3 years of Mid-South wrestling, right? Like, just fantastic, and such good angles and such good stories, and just seeing how good Bill Watts was at just getting the angles over in storyline. He didn't need a guy standing in the ring for 20 minutes doing a promo. Within 2 minutes, he could sum up the entire territory or what's going on. So things like that, I love that. But the fact that we don't have that tribalism, like we can talk about certain territories and agree there's good and bad and stuff like that. You know, somebody who's a fan from the 1970s can talk with somebody who's a fan from the 1980s, and we don't get into a war over it. We appreciate that stuff, and like I say, like talking to people, you know, who were there during that time period, I get more and more appreciation for that time period of wrestling. So that's the beauty of wrestling and wrestling fans and having that community. It's just so great.
I had got a chance to go to Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling. They had a fan fest, and I had a chance to go with my buddy Joe Monroe, and it was such a great feeling for me because I got to meet so many different wrestlers and just let them know how much they played a part in my development as a wrestling fan, as a podcaster.
Yeah.
Now.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a chance to talk to Iceman King Parsons.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm and the whole time I'm talking to people, in the back of my head, I'm like, don't mark out. Don't mark out. They hate that. Don't mark out.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like, yes, sir. I loved what you did, and thank you because you helped raise me in the fact of my knowledge. I think I'm a pretty knowledgeable wrestling fan, and that I give quality information out. And not only meeting him, but he actually had the world class championship title there.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh, I'm like, that's crazy. And I think to myself, I've been blessed to touch the NWA world title, world class. Got to talk to Jimmy Hart. There are some people who in the business are different. Yep. They are not who their character is. And then there were so many guys that are legitimately who they are, just turned up.
Yeah.
Jimmy Hart, I would tell anybody, if you get a chance to ever talk to Jimmy Hart, he is one of the nicest, most politest, sweetest people ever. And after having the conversation I had with him, I walked away like I was a superstar.
Yeah.
Because that's what Jimmy just does. He's so modest and everything. And again, just getting to meet a lot of my heroes, to tell them how much I appreciate them, is such a great thing for me.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, man, Jimmy Hart would be on the bucket list of people to talk to because he's like the most positive person in the world. It's just unbelievable. I just caught his interview that he had with Cody Rhodes, and he's still just. I love how he's still like in the kayfabe side of it, and he's still so appreciative of what wrestling has done for him. He's so appreciative to Jerry Lawler and what that relationship did, and his story. I couldn't imagine the stories that he would have, and he's had such a amazing life, you know, not just the wrestling side, but the music side as well.
Oh,
so
yes.
yeah, but just to meet people like that would be amazing. And I love that you got to meet the Iceman. That's fantastic. Like, I'd be the same way. I want to stand there and just talk to him and just say, like, tell me about it, man. Just tell me about it. It's like when I had Evan on mine, like one of the questions was like, because he's been there. He was in Madison Square Garden during the peak of wrestling. I'm like, what did it smell like in Madison Square Garden? You know, because I want to be there. I want to be in that seat next to him and picture what it is, right? You know, Benny, like he went to supper with Bruno Sammartino. What was that like? What did that? You know, I'm trying to get to that place. So yeah, I would try not to mark out, but I think it's pretty respectful that, you know, that you can just have that conversation with people. I laugh. I always call myself the one step away person because I'm talking to the people who talk to the people. Right?
it it was so nice. Another person I got to talk to, um, and I had met him before, is Greg Valentine.
Yeah.
Now, with Greg, it was a funny dynamic. Many years before this, I went to an NWA fan fest, and me and my buddy were on the elevator going to our rooms, and all of a sudden, Greg walked into the elevator, and I'm like, "Oh!" And I'm trying not to be too loud, and I'm like, "Hey, let me let me say this." I said, "Hey, that's Greg the Hammer Valentine."
Yeah.
Greg heard me, and, and Greg just like, "Oh, great, more wrestling fan." And, and, and of course, I got a little upset about it.
But that's
So,
so Greg Valentine. I want him to be like that. You
well,
know?
so after years of having the grudge and everything, I can't remember who I was talking to, but they're real close to Greg, and he was talking about it. And I said, yeah. I said, now being older like I am and dealing with a lot of health issues, I get it. I get
Mm,
sometimes, especially if you're popular and people know you sometimes you just want to be you.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
so, with that being said, I got a chance to talk to him there, and I was like, I have to tell you a story. I said, now I don't know how you're going to feel about this story, but I said one is true. So I told him the whole thing, and he looks at me. He said, "Man, I'm so sorry that I did that to you." And I said, "You know what?" I said, "Honestly, I'm not." I said, "At first, yeah." I said, "But getting older and understand," I said, "I appreciate why you did it. It wasn't
Yeah.
nothing personal. It was just maybe you were tired and FanFest was going on. Maybe you just wanted some time to you." So I told him it's no hard feelings. I appreciate, and he apologized. And to me, he didn't have to do that,
Yeah.
but he did. And I was like, man, that just makes me more of a fan of yours, that you could recognize and feel like you did me wrong and you wanted to make up for it. So I just really appreciated him for that.
That's pretty cool.
Um, so, what I know the '80s is your thing, but
Yeah.
what is your go-to if someone's like, "Hey, I want to have a conversation about any wrestling"? What is your go-to?
As far as matches or just wrestling, period?
As far as wrestling promotions, is well, wrestling promotions.
Yeah, I mean, like if it depends on the audience, right? If there's somebody who's interested in the old school, of course, I'm going to talk about all the territories because the territories were amazing. I just mentioned it earlier. I love talking about like world class, and just just the influence they had on things. I like talked about Mid South Wrestling, Jim Crockett Promotions, Florida territories, Canadian territories like Stampede and what we had locally here in the Maritimes and just all that stuff, like the AWA, WWF, of course. Everybody knows WWF, so it's easy to talk about that. If it's somebody that's more interested in the 90s, of course I was a fan during the 90s too and the Attitude Era and all that stuff. So, of course, you're going to relive, the Monday Night Wars and talking about WCW and the NWO. It's how can you not? That was such a boom to the wrestling industry at that time, right? And then, of course, when WWF got white hot again, so it was just an amazing time. Like I'm during the Monday Night Wars, I'm like 25 or whatever. Key time for me to be watching wrestling at that age, right? That's the audience that they were going for with that. So, what a time to be a wrestling fan that was. The 2000s, that's the era when, maybe it cooled down a bit, but we had some great matches during that time period, right? And, I was a fan of guys like Kurt Angle and, Chris Benoit and Jericho and Eddie Guerrero and just all those guys that are just putting on these 5-star classics over and over again. And the modern stuff, it's hit and miss for me. If somebody wants to talk matches, I mean, I love, like, I have a series that's, your must watch matches, and I got to get back to that because I've been doing a lot of interviews and stuff. But for me, ironically enough, although I'm an 80s guy, my favorite match of all time is Bret and Austin from WrestleMania 13. I think it's just perfect. I think it's just a perfect match. Bret Hart's my guy. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. But he, it was just a double turn done perfectly. And not just by the wrestlers themselves, the announcing got over too. Like Jim Ross, he deserves an Emmy for that announcing performance during that. The way he turned Austin face and turned Bret heel without just making it obvious, right? It was just the way he subtly did things, talking about, what a stud Austin was, and just he won't back down from anybody, and he wasn't just burying Bret Hart. It was talking about, well, Bret's kind of bending the rules here a bit and stuff like that. So love that match, and God, the ending with the blood and stuff like that, and Austin wouldn't give up. So just, if I told somebody, if you want to see, just art, go watch that, or go watch any Bret Hart match. To be honest, one of my other favorites is the I Quit match with Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard.
Oh.
I absolutely love that match, and I wish more modern fans will watch stuff like that, because guess what? They didn't even go 15 minutes in that match. They told such a perfect story in that, and I'll say to this day, as funny as it is, I'm a wrestling fan, but I'm also a Shakespeare fan. So, but I said that ending with Magnum standing there with that piece of wood in his hand, am I going to jab Tully again? And he just looks at it, looks at him, drops it, and he's just like saying, "You're not worth it." Yeah. And I said, that is Shakespeare. That's Shakespeare right there. That's why we're wrestling fans, because he's the good guy. You do not do that at the end. And he proved he's the good guy, even though he had to go to dark places to win that match. And I mean, Tully Blanchard is just one of the greatest heels of all time. I mean, that's what I love about wrestling. I love those little things, right, that just get you so into a match. I mean, Bulldogs against the Hart Foundation, could watch that. The Midnight Express against the Rock and Roll Express. I mean, all that. Like, when I remember a few months ago, I think it was that, WWE Vault put like a Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express collaboration on there. Okay, well, great. You've got me hooked now for 3 hours, because I'll just watch that over again. But, and then there's the other moments, like you'll talk about like Hogan Andre or Hogan Rock. And again, the beauty of that, it's the little things in those matches, right? Benny talked about missing the gimmick matches and things like that. I Quit matches, hair versus hair. Like, it's unreal.
The stipulation make the matches that much special. Like you, my favorite match of all time is the I Quit match. Yeah. And like you said, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Baby Doll's interference.
Oh, yes.
Great.
Yeah.
The referee bumped. It was just everything lining up to be just so perfect. And
Tully with that spike about that far away from Magnum's eye. And yeah. I don't know if you ever caught them talk about it. That was called in the ring, and Tully's just like, watch the spike. So Magnum's holding on to it. It's like, oh my word. But there's a great picture that I put on a lot of my videos when I'm talking about that. It's a black and white of Magnum about to put that spike into Tully, and you can see Baby Doll. And everybody talks about Magnum and Tully in that match. Baby Doll played her part perfect, and she's just horrified looking at this. And oh man, I love it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interfere.
No. And matter of fact, above my NWA tag titles, I have the US title. I have the one where they just switched over to the newer version right before him and Nikita did the 7 match.
I love that title. I love that title.
That is beautiful. My favorite title, as even to this day, and I love the big gold belt.
Yep.
But that U.S. title, if I could go back in time, that would be the title I want. That
Yep.
I
It's
would,
beautiful.
I
It's
wouldn't
a
care
work of
about
art.
any other one.
Yeah. Hmm.
It is, like you said, they told such an amazing story, and anytime, and I still feel funny about it when a lot of times I get to talk to a lot of these indie wrestlers, and we may, I don't know, be talking about their matches or what they look at to draw inspiration. I always tell them, make sure you watch that match.
Yeah.
I said that, especially if you're in a rivalry with someone, that is the perfect way to end it. This
Yes.
everybody home. There was no question about it. Even years later, after Magnum was in that terrible car wreck,
Yep.
and and Magnum was cutting the promo, and Tully came out, and Tully was like, you know, I had to live with saying I quit for 2 years. 2 years. When you get better, come back. We can do it. But until then, get out of here.
And he never said I quit. He
Yeah.
never said I quit. That's perfect heel, right? Like if I was an independent wrestler, I'd be watching Tully Blanchard matches over and over again because
Oh.
he plays like he doesn't play a tough guy, but he's relentless. He's just like, I always say he's like a caged animal. He's like a caged rat just going after you. But then he sells and bumps and bumps and bumps and bumps, and it's just yeah. And then there's always justification. I never said I quit. I only said yes. I didn't say I quit. That's perfect.
And it's so much and again, I always try to have the mindset too when people look at things, whether it's wrestling, music, or whatever. A lot of times, our favorites are going to be the moment we get hooked, the moment stuff. So a lot of times, like I hear in music, oh, this modern music is just crap. You want good music this period. And it generally is around the time that person is growing up and
Yeah.
just getting into it and falling in love with it. So I try to tell people, even if, and again, like you, a big fan of the 80s, but I never underestimate the modern stuff, and I can look at it in the right lens to not have to compare it to my love of the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like prime example, Darby Allin and his short title run.
Yeah.
I thought they did that perfectly. They gave the underdog the title, and he's the guy who won't turn down title shots.
Hmm.
For me, I would give him and Ciampa match of the year.
Right.
I think they sold everything, and they did it within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
20 minutes to put your heart and soul and make us fans just, oh my God, he may lose this. It's a back up. That's the type of thing that I love when it happens, and I hope the modern fan can catch it and understand this is what we want. We want wrestling is our emotions. We got to go on wild rides. So
Yeah.
if you can get us going up, down, yeah, we're to the point we're almost crying that it happened or our person lost, then you know you have a great match.
Yeah, exactly. The match should take you on a roller coaster of emotions, and that's the key word there, Professor, is emotion. And in order to have emotion, you need to have time for it to register. And that's my biggest complaint right now about the modern stuff is yeah, they can do everything under the sun. They're way more athletic than guys were in the past. But they're trying to do everything under the sun in every single match. Like you think about it 40, 50 years ago, if the guy going in the opening match was pulling off some of the stuff that was supposed to be done in the main event, they'd be getting they'd probably be getting let go is
Yeah.
what would be happening, but they'd also probably have to deal with a pretty angry main eventer. Harley Race wouldn't be putting up with somebody doing his high knee or the headbutt off the top rope. Like, that's just the way it went. So just because you can do it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it, or it's got to make sense. That's the problem, and fans don't have time to register and appreciate what you just did because they're already 10 moves ahead now, or they're if a guy is like, I don't mind Darby Allin because he is just an anomaly, right? And he uses his body like it's a weapon, but he also understands he's a smaller guy. So he's not going to be picking up Brody King and giving him a pile driver or something like that. No, he's going to come flying through the ropes at 100 miles an hour and doing a torpedo dive at him, right? But I get completely taken out when it is a guy like if Orange Cassidy was press slamming Brody King, well, that's taking me out of it, right? That's taking me out of it, and it takes the fans out of it. And yeah, you get the viral moment, but you've lost the storyline. And I find, like, I hear more and more about fans being exhausted by the end of an event instead of hyped about it. Like, you were hyped about that Tully Blanchard Magnum TA match by the end of it. You were exhausted from the emotion and energy in that match, but then you got a little bit of time, and then you're ready to be right back up because it was Dusty and Ric Flair in the main event of it, right? So,
Right.
I know everybody says, well, Savage Steamboat stole WrestleMania 3. Well, that's an anomaly, right? That's an anomaly. They're not stealing every week on Raw. They're not stealing the main event. You know what I mean? Right now, probably one of the best matches over the last, I don't know, 5-10 years was that match in Mexico for AAA with the two Grande Americanos. I mean, that was fantastic because, again, they told a story and there was emotion involved, and they didn't go too far with things. They had one table spot and they had a little bit of blood, but it made sense in that. And that's the beauty, is when you can actually let the fans ride that roller coaster of emotion with you. They want to come along for the ride. That's the whole reason you pay money for a ticket to go see the wrestling. They know, I'm sorry, but the cat's out of the bag. They know that this isn't real as far as people are trying to kill each other, but for your 20-30 bucks that you pay on the independents, not in WWE right now, but on the indies, you're saying, by paying that money and handing the guy the ticket at the front door, I'm giving you permission for me to put away all sense of reality right now because I want to join you on this fantasy, and I want you to take me on a ride of emotions where I can enjoy it. But, I feel like, and that's what happened with me, I got really down on the modern stuff, is I feel like it was almost like you might as well just stand in the middle of the ring and tell me it's not real. Whereas that was never the case. Like, you talk about Greg Valentine. What did his father say? They can say that this stuff isn't real, but you're going to know for sure that I'm real, right? So
Yes.
that's the
Yes.
thing. Mm-hmm.
And I think that is where the big difference is. And I mentioned this to someone before. I said, I am not an entertainment fan. I'm
Yeah.
a wrestling fan.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with the entertainment side of wrestling. It's not. I mean, they're great. They have some great moments, and it can be the viral moment. But I want to invest my time and my emotions into the match. Like you said, I want to forget that I got problems at the job. I want to forget
That's right.
that someone's trying to steal something from me. I want to forget about every problem
Yep.
and be able to watch this match
Yep.
and go up and down, up and down. Maybe before this match I was mad and wanted to beat up somebody. After the match, I got all that emotion out of me. Now
Yep.
I think clearly.
Yep.
Like, oh wow, okay. Whew. That problem, okay, I didn't think about doing this way. And I think and I always try to preference with a lot of the older wrestlers and managers and stuff, and they don't like the modern state of wrestling. And I can completely understand why. But you have to understand that everything grows, it changes.
Yep.
And that in this modern era, this is what it is. Now, you can have a niche and bring stuff back to the past, and it's going to be a niche. But in today's, there's no way that what wrestling used to be can sustain the audience today. They just they if it's not hitting with them like that, they're not going to catch it. They cannot take a modern match where a clothesline, headlock, they're off on something else because it's not holding their attention. And unfortunately, that's where we have to try to learn how to blend the two together.
Yeah, I'll respectfully disagree a little bit with that, just because I feel like you could bring it back a little bit. Like I mean, for instance, there right now, aside from an MJF, is there anybody out there that truly wants to be a hated heel at the moment, right? Like there's people that want to be cool heels,
Right.
and in the end, they kind of want to be liked by the fans. But is there a Greg Valentine out there? Is there a Tully Blanchard? Is there a Dr. D. David Schultz or something like that, right? Like
Right.
where they don't care, right? And they don't want the fans to like them. Roddy Piper, like he didn't want the fans to like him. He wanted the fans to hate him. And people say, well, you can't go back to that type of thing because it was a different time and a different way they talk. Well, I don't think MJF's exactly what's the word, politically correct with how he's talking and getting over, right? I mean, again, we go back to that agreement that this is, let's step away from reality for a little bit, and it's funny, like the whole entertainment side of it. Yeah, WWE and WWF took that way too far with the whole entertainment side, but wrestling's always been entertainment. Look at Gorgeous George back in the 50s, right? Like Ric Flair is entertainment. Yes, when the bell rang and he got in that ring, he could do what he could do, but he talked you into the arena with entertainment, right? Think about you're down in the the Tennessee area there, right? Like think about 1982, Andy Kaufman and Jerry the King Lawler. That's entertainment, right? And it ends up Andy Kaufman did a pretty darn good job of being a heel in Memphis, right, where they took their wrestling serious,
Yeah.
So there was a mixture of that stuff, not just with WWF at the time. It's just that WWF was so big and Vince got it so glitzy and glamorous and stuff like that. But, most companies right now, all they're doing is they're copying that style that WWE is producing. So I think there is a way, even something like a finishing maneuver. Well, there is no finishing maneuver right now because everybody kicks out of everything. So to me, I think I could argue you can get a headlock over as a finishing maneuver right now, as long as every person that gets put in it by the guy who's using it as his finisher is tapping out to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there's ways to do this. I think the other thing is the social media side. Wrestlers have got to step back from the social media. I'm okay with you doing social media in character, but when you're mixing your character with your personal and then you're slapping pictures up of you going for coffee with the person you're supposed to be having a blood feud with and stuff like that, all you're doing is you're hurting your product, right? I mean, I work in insurance for a living. If I showed myself, hanging out with all the competitors or something like that, well, I'm kind of hurting my product, right? So it's just, there is ways. Now, I'm not saying we go back to 1981 and it's like a 5 minute, rest hold or something like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, but there is ways. Fans are begging to be fooled. They're begging to have kayfabe back. The best angles in the modern time have been things where people have questioned, well, is that real? Was that a shoot? Was that, what's going on here? Look at guys, no matter what people say, Brock Lesnar still draws an audience because he is real. Like these people, that's what happens. So I think there's a mixture there that can be. That's what I'm saying. If we can gel the modern with some of the things from the past, I think you could really have a really good product.
Yeah, and I think we were saying the same thing just in a different way, because I think that, like you said, if we can blend it together, it could be an amazing product.
Yeah.
Sometimes like you, I wish social media would be we knew less. It's too many of us that are wrestling smart, and we want to know. One of the things I tell people all the time, you may hear me complain about something that I can see it, that I know this is coming, and this is coming. The main reason I'm complaining is because I want to be fooled. Like
Yeah.
like being a magician.
Mm-hmm.
I want that magician to fool me. I don't want to be able to pick his whole thing apart. Oh, well, if you take that card from under your hand, then that's the trick. I want to be fooled. I want to be amazed. Brock Lesnar is a perfect example of that.
Mm-hmm.
Brock is a person that I'm not the greatest fan of Brock,
Mm-hmm.
but I will never take the fact that Brock understands the business.
Yep.
He does things that make business sense. Even if I don't get it right off, I can look back and he saw that. That's why Brock did that.
Mm-hmm.
When Brock sells, he is all invested in it.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
He tries to, whoever his opponent is, he tries to make them look like $1 billion.
Yeah.
Him and Oba. He's like, okay, you are going to be the next big thing, and I'm going to show you how. I'm going to help you. Just little cues that he does, like when Oba first beat him up in the ring. Brock's like, put your feet on my chest.
Yeah. Yep.
Who in the world would have thought that?
Yep.
That one little element made it that much bigger.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy where I don't know it. I go to a lot of more independent shows.
Mm-hmm.
Love them. I love seeing the work. I love seeing the younger talent do things. And it's like, hey, when I get a chance to talk to them, it's like, man, you're really good. Can I suggest somebody you might want to check out their stuff that would help elevate you?
Yep.
And I would give them my advice from a fan's perspective. Like, man, if you could mix in some of Tully's, oh boy, you would get over.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. Who is your dream person that if you could get an hour with them, who would it be and why?
Two people right now that are living, right? Like, because I mean, there's lots that are passed away, but from the wrestling business, two people. Bret Hart would be one. I'd love to just sit and chat wrestling with Bret Hart, and also be able to thank him for the memories that he gave me as a fan too. Just watching him and him giving me the love for wrestling, right? And another one, and this might be a controversial one, but Jim Cornette. I'd love to pick Jim Cornette's brain. He's brilliant when it comes to wrestling, and he's got 8 million stories about wrestling. He's been everywhere, seen everybody. He's an encyclopedia. He's kept records, meticulous records of everything he's done. Like he's like, I'll listen to his podcasts each week. It's 3-4 hours, and I'll devour them, and I don't get tired of them. I'm like, dang, it's over. Like I wish there was more, right?
Yeah.
So I think those would be the two main ones right now that I'd love to. If they're on my bucket list for interviews to do, those would be the two that I want to do for sure.
So let me tell you a quick story about Jim. I've been blessed to talk to Jim 2 different times. No, 3 times. 3 times. The second time that I got to talk to him, it was that NWA Fan Fest that I told you I met Greg at. The day before, Jim was in Knoxville at a promotion, and I was there. So I got to meet him, talk for a second. We are going down the line. The way they had the wrestlers, they all were on stage at their table, and we were all in line, so we got to walk down to each wrestler. Jim and the Midnight Express were the last one, and this was Bobby and Dennis.
Yep.
Jim was first. I talked to Jim, and he's like, "Oh, you follow me?" I'm like, "I think you're following me." Then talked to Dennis, told him every chance as a kid, I wanted to punch him in the face. Then got to talk to Bobby. Told him, man, how much I loved his Alabama jam and everything, and he thanked me. I took 3 steps away from him, and I spun around real quick and like, oh shit, you talk. Jim Cornette was drinking a Coke, spit that Coke all over the place laughing. So later on the next day, I ran into Bobby again. Now, Bobby had, and you heard stories about Bobby on how just a genuine, sweet man that he was.
Yeah.
I saw Bobby, and when I told him he talked, he got a look on his face, and it kind of freaked me out for a minute. I thought he was really pissed. So the next day, looking for ATM, I saw him, and he's like, "Oh boy, I've been looking for you." And he had that same pissed look on his face. Me and my buddy standing there with me, and I'm looking at him. I'm thinking, man, you better not let me get my ass kicked by Bobby. I don't care what you have to do, drag me, do whatever, get me, because I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4". At that time, I was easily 310.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still just sitting there shaking because Bobby had that pissed look on his face that I had never ever seen. So in my head, I'm like, oh, he is for real. He came up on me. I had my fist ball, but I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
He grabbed me and he started laughing. I was like, oh my God, if you don't stop. I was like, you almost make me crap my pants. Don't do that. And we had a great laugh. So
he ribbed the ribber.
Yeah. So the next time I seen Jim, it was for a Global Force show. It was a baseball stadium up in Sevierville. And Jim was there, and I walked up to him. I was like, hey, Mr. Cornette, you meet thousands of wrestling fans. I said, we got a chance to meet one time before. And he's like, yeah, I know, I remember you. I'm like, bullshit, man. You don't have to play with my emotions like that. He's like, no, I remember you. He told the story. And I fell out laughing like, oh, wow. He's like, how do you think I'm going to forget something that funny? And then he said, now we're getting together every 10 years to tell this story. I'm like, you're on. And God knows I've been trying to get him on my show.
Oh yeah, that would be the get of a century for sure. I mean, I think he's probably one of the most misunderstood people in all of wrestling. Like, I don't think people realize he's playing a character. You just have to listen to him talk on his podcast, especially when he loses a fellow wrestler, especially when he lost Dennis and Bobby. You see the real person. When he lost his dog, like, you see the real person. He's
Right.
playing a character, right? And it's just, I don't understand. Like, for a time when we are so informed about wrestling and everybody's Benny said, I think it was Benny that said it before, we went from being wrestling fans to wrestling critics, and that's what everybody is right now, but yet they will get kayfabed by the simplest things, right? And Jim Cornette's a perfect example. But yeah, I love that for you. I love that he remembered that story. That's fantastic.
It I I don't think of myself as anything in the wrestling business. I look at myself as just a little bleep, little blah. Not even. I always am surprised when I get to talk to people and wrestlers that know about me, know about my show. I'm always humbled that they tell me how well they take me, and I'm just like, I'm just telling my story.
Hmm.
I don't feel like it's anything great, but I realize how much I can touch fans
Yeah.
in a meaningful way. And wrestlers, I had a wrestler come up to me, and I was at a Joe Casana um, promotion show. I'm in there, and I'm sitting waiting on the show. Well, I see the wrestler, and I've seen him wrestle at different places. I see him, and I notice he's headed my way, and he's headed my way with a little speed, and I'm like, okay. And he came up to me. He's like, Professor Bear, oh my God, man, I'm a big fan of yours. Man, I really wanted to meet you, and I'm just standing there like, what is happening? And then he turned around like, man, can we get a picture together? What? And I tell him, I'm like, this is supposed to be the other way around, right? Do you realize you're the wrestler, right? I'm just
Yeah.
a podcaster.
Yeah.
But he let me know that what I was doing is translating out in the world. And I've been blessed to be put into a wrestling hall of fame. And that wrestler, uh, Diesel Truck, he got he's the one that put me in the Hall of Fame, and I
Okay.
could thank him more. And both of us, I'm trying not to cry. He's crying, and I'm like, nope, don't you do it. You're too big. Don't you do it. And but it's just so much that I love about this business. I love talking to people like yourself. I love our conversations, and we can talk about anything and help. Hopefully, the younger fans become fans and do research. The older fans that are jaded, hopefully, after they hear our conversation, they'll look at it a little differently.
Yeah. I mean, I don't take this lightly when I do this. Like, the fact that one person wants to listen to what I have to say about pro wrestling blows my mind, because I'm, like I say, I'm not gonna say the words I'm a nobody, but I mean, like, I I haven't been in the business. I haven't wrestled. I haven't announced. I haven't, been a manager or referee or anything like that. But I am a fan, and I think there is some credence to that when you're a fan that's a fan of the actual product itself and the history of it, and it's different than somebody who just watches it for a couple of months and is already critiquing what somebody's doing right now. I appreciate what they're doing, but I more so appreciate anybody that is willing to tune in to listen to my thoughts on this. Like, I often hear people, like, they would get down and say, well, I only got, like, I don't know, 100 views on that video. Well, think about it. If you went to a conference room and 100 people wanted to come here and listen to hear you talk about wrestling, you'd be blown away, right? You know,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
like, and then when you get dedicated people that watch every video or listen to every podcast and they comment on it and they talk about, you know, what a great show that was and stuff like that. It's just so humbling and mind blowing that can be possible. You know, like it really is mind blowing to me. And you know, so I appreciate it. And then of course, how supportive all the fellow podcasters have been is just absolutely mind blowing as well. I just you know, the fact that people are showing up in this episode to watch and stuff like that just blows my mind. I want to do the same for those people because I really appreciate what they're doing too. And I mean, I'm like there's very popular podcasts out there that to steal the words of Evan Ginsberg are a piece of fluff, as his mother would say. Right? But there are people right now that are getting, you know, 20, 30 views on their podcasts that are putting out quality stuff, heartfelt stuff, stuff that is giving you just absolute gold in what they're doing, and they deserve to be seen by tens of thousands of people, not 20 people. But meanwhile, you get some guy that's screaming in his basement about AEW and what they did, you know, and they're getting 50,000 live streams a night just because they scream the loudest. That's what drives me crazy, and that's what I always said. I'll never be that type of podcast. It's just not in me to do that type of podcast. What I'm trying to do is honor the history and these wrestlers and show that these guys sacrificed for the business. I mean, sacrifice. Like, I mean, especially in the eras prior to now, like where they were wrestling over 300 days a year, they weren't seeing their family. They were getting injured and still going. Like you talked about what gets you hooked on wrestling. The you know, I was hooked on wrestling as watching it when I first started watching, but what the angle that got me hooked forever was Paul Orndorff when he turned on Hulk Hogan. Like that was just, I remember watching that and going, okay, I am a fan for life now. This was the coolest stuff. And then I think about Paul Orndorff, who was injured and kept going because he knew this was going to be the biggest payday of his entire life, and that's going to set his family up for his entire life. But he paid the price for it because he should have got that shoulder and arm worked on, and you could see what happened to him in later on in years. And it's just, it's these people need to be honored, and they need to be, you know, talked about with reverence and thanked for what they've done for our entertainment. You know, like I say, like you go watch a movie, they can put a stuntman in there to do the stunt for the action star. These guys are doing the stuntman's job 300 to 350 nights a year, which is just unbelievable. And that's why now, in a time where they don't need to do that as much, they don't need to be doing that monstrous circuit, I hate to see guys going out there and getting injured now, because we're in a time now where they shouldn't be getting as injured as they are at this time, because people understand what it's about and stuff. So I don't want to see people end their career early or have an injury that's going to just ruin them for life. I'm not someone who's crapping on the modern stuff. I don't want to watch something where I'm worried every time somebody's doing a move that, oh my God, are they going to break their neck on this, right? So that's where I came from. But sorry, that's my long way around for that one.
Oh, no problem. And actually, it reminds me of the chance I got. I got a chance to talk to Harley Race's son and his ex-wife.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I got to tell them was thank you. And they really didn't understand why I was thanking them. I'm like, well, you sacrificed. You sacrificed your husband, your marriage, your father, so he could entertain all of us. You 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 couldn't grow up with your father being there all the time.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to thank y'all. Y'all did a great sacrifice for us, and a lot of the fans I know feel the same way I do. And this is my chance to tell you from the fans, thank you. We really appreciate you and the love and support you did. I mean, everything is such a. I think a lot of times as fans we forget.
Yeah.
We forget that people are human.
Yeah.
We forget their family life is suffering. They're away from their family. They're hurt. All these different things. So be appreciative. One other aspect of that too, that I've really thought about is the enhancement talent.
Yeah.
They definitely, there are so many guys and girls that was there to make the stars look like $1 billion.
Yeah.
And I wish there was a way we could give them their love and let them know, and their love and their proper thanks of what they did to help too. Because when I think Midnight Express, the rock and roll comes up, the Road Warriors, but the Mulkey Brothers. That it's like one of their few wins was against the great Midnight Express.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just made it that much better for me, and have hope. Like, oh man, Rocky King could actually pull off a victory just out of some fluke.
Yeah.
So it actually enhanced me wanting to watch wrestling, and like, oh man, he's gonna lose. He pulled off a victory. How? So I really enjoyed that aspect of it too.
I always loved the fluke wins like that. That was one of the great storylines in the '90s. Was the 1-2-3 Kid angle with Razor Ramon, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I I want to thank you again for coming on my show. Um, I love your reverence and your love of history and everything you're doing. Um, Definitely tell the fans where they can find you and your show at.
Yeah, for sure. So my show Wrestling with the '80s is on YouTube. So you just go on YouTube and just at Wrestling with the '80s. It's that's the handle for it. Like I say, lots of different videos. I've been doing a lot of interviews lately, but there's also different types of videos. There's what ifs. That's one of my favorite things to do. Ironically, today is Magnum TA's 67th birthday. So one of my most popular videos on there is a what if that I did on Magnum TA. What if there wasn't the auto accident for him? I did a what if on David Von Erich. What if David Von Erich were around today? That type of thing. Do spotlights on different guys. Talking the territories. Like I said, I've done one on Jim Crockett Promotions and did one on the Mid-South Wrestling. So those are the things that I love to do. And of course, the interviews and stuff like that. I always talk about the one step away guy. I'll break some news here for you, Professor, right on your show. Talk about one step away, but I don't want to belittle the interview because it's not like that. But I said my all-time bucket list is Bret Hart. Well, I just recently interviewed Diana Hart, and
Oh wow!
yeah, and that was an amazing conversation with her. So, like I say, I don't want to put it that way, like the whole one step away. It's just so funny, like it's just there you go, so close. And what an amazing woman she is, and so I'm just in the we spoke for hours, and it was just amazing. So I'm just in the process of getting things edited up. It's going to be a week or two before I get it out, but I want to make sure, again, with the reverence, I want to make sure that I'm doing the due diligence and making sure that it puts the best light on my guests. I'm not a got you interview guy. I'm a guy that wants to talk to somebody and say thank you for what you've done, whether you're a wrestler or a podcaster or whatever. And that was so nice to be able to say to her, thank you for the sacrifices that the Hart family and the people around it, the British Bulldog, her husband, and Owen, her brother, did for the wrestling industry. For us, the Harts aren't just Calgary's family; they're Canada's family. You know what I mean? They made us proud to be Canadians, to have the Harts. Especially in the 90s when you had everything going on with the U.S. versus Canada stuff, right? So that's the big news for me. That's going to be coming out soon. Also, if Benny's still in here, I'm excited. I'm going to be releasing an episode that we did where we talked about wrestling magazines and our love of collecting wrestling magazines in the 80s, and just how much how much it meant to us. Like in more ways than one, it meant a lot to people to read those magazines, and got people through a lot of hard times. So that's great. The most recent episode, I just had Tyler Peters on from Tyler's Takedowns. We talked about the Brainbusters. So Tully and Arn, when their brief run in the WWF, and just talked about that. So different videos like that. It's just fun videos. Had Benny on talking about Bruno Sammartino and why he was the greatest, and Evan Ginsberg on talking about Madison Square Garden and what it was like to be in Madison Square Garden. So there's a lot there for people if they want to check it out. So, and if you want to find me on social media, go to Facebook, Wrestling with the 80s on Facebook. You can follow there, or Instagram, Wrestling with the 80s on Instagram.
Again, well, first off, congratulations on the interview. I can't wait to see it. Like that, and I find funny with the magazines, I still have all of my magazines that I bought from I had off ones, but I have Pro Wrestling Illustrated from, I think it started in October of '88.
Yeah,
I have that until sometime in the 2000s.
Nice.
Where I just have them. It was points I was going to get rid of them. It was points I thought about selling them. I just still have them. It's part of my history.
I'm not even sure if I still have mine. I really hope they're in my parents' basement somewhere. They're probably moldy as all get out, but I'll still get them. But I started collecting wrestling magazines in '86, and like I said, I'm a guy, like, I didn't get to see Starrcade '85 live when it happened. I couldn't even get it where I was. I couldn't get it on pay-per-view.
Right.
So magazines were my way to live these territories. And then as I got older and was able to find tapes and stuff like that, and now, of course, with the advent of YouTube and the WWE network and all that stuff, that certainly made life easier to go back and relive these times. But yeah, those magazines, man, there's something special about just cracking open that newsprint and smelling them, and then looking at all the ratings for the different territories. And yeah,
that was my thing. I was like, who's in the top spot? And man, did he take him? Oh, he lost. So how far are they going to drop him? I was super big into it too.
How dare you put the Road Warriors over the British Bulldogs? I can't believe you did that.
Right, the Bulldogs got the titles. The Road Warriors don't have any. How are they number one? But
Yeah.
definitely,
Who the heck are the Fantastics? I'm trying to find that.
I'll tell you this real quick, and then I'll let you go. I got to see Bobby Fulton.
Oh yes,
and he was supposed to be on my show. I had in February, I did a promotion appreciation month, and he was supposed to be on my show. Well, I had some difficulties, and I didn't get him on the show. So when I saw him at the Fan Fest, first thing I did was apologize to him. He's like, "Oh, you don't need to apologize. That happened." I was like, "Nope." I said, "I understand that." I said, "But me being me, I just feel like I owed you that apology and how much I appreciate you." And he had the U.S. title there.
Nice.
Walked out over there. I could help myself.
I'll tell you this, Professor. I don't know if you checked it out yet, but you probably like it. Did you see the video that's been getting around lately? It was a PBS documentary on the Dorton Arena in Raleigh.
Yes, yes, yes.
That was a great video documentary. I love that.
The, I was so surprised they have that one. Then it was one out west where I can't remember what arena they covered, but it was so good.
Yeah.
And I have to start really paying more attention to PBS documentaries because they have some great ones about wrestling.
Oh, the footage in the pictures was unreal.
Yes. Well, my friend, again, thank you so very much for coming on. Had a great time, like I knew we would. Uh, and of course, anytime you would want to come back, you're more than welcome. And we maybe we'll dive into some territory, go into a good
I like
discussion.
it. I like it. Maybe you'll have to return the favor. Come on over to me. Maybe we can talk like Memphis territory or something like that. Something that's in your
Definitely.
wheelhouse, right?
Oh, I keep saying we're gonna let you go, but
Yeah.
I got to interview Ron Fuller,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
and we for an interview that was only supposed to go about 15 minutes. We did right at 40, and I was trying to be respectful of his time. I'm like, well, I know you got to go. He's like, no, we can go a little longer. No, we can go a little longer, and I really enjoyed it. But I think one of the best compliments that I always get from older wrestlers are that they can tell how much it means to me,
Yeah.
how respectful I am, and they're surprised on my knowledge of things. I'm like, I'm not going to say I didn't have a father and a mother, but y'all practically raised me.
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, it was great. But again, thank you so very much for coming on, and we'll have to do it again real soon.
I appreciate you inviting me. This is a blast.
Oh, no problem. Guys, girls, thank you for joining me around the campfire for another amazing story. Now, y'all are very used to me ending my show telling you go support your local indie promotion. I will never stop saying that. You never know these young guys and girls that are doing so much and you are missing out. The, the tickets are cheaper. You get more of a intimate setting. You actually get to meet the wrestlers. I think it's such a treat. If you do it one time, I feel like you'll get hooked and support them. But the other thing I want to end off is this. If you're a wrestling fan, go do some history on wrestling. Go check, go take your favorite wrestler and go look at their history and their background. You may find out who they're patterning themselves after or who helped them become who they are. Wrestling has so much history. I don't want it to fade away. And the only way to stop it from fading away is to tell these stories. Go to go to YouTube and check out a lot of people's stories. Keep the history alive, please, because as I learned as a kid and I do now, I am trying to make the business better than I found it. And with great guests and great fans like yourself, I think I'm doing a good job of that. So thank y'all for that.
Here,
With
here.
that being said, I am Professor Bear. This has been a Bear's Thought, and we will see you again around the campfire very, very soon. Y'all take care.